Well, once again, we have another edition of the Irie 98 podcast, and I am here with very special guest who was one of our first guests when we started the new Irie 98, and she's coming back to visit us again to talk about her back to school program, Dr. Gina Spence-Virgil. How you doing?
I am great. And just so excited to be back here at Irie to be able to talk about our event. And thanks for having us. We appreciate it.
No, listen, I told you before, and I'm going to tell you again, you are welcome anytime, all right? So especially for all these different initiatives that you're doing in the community, we need them.
Yeah,
we need
them. For sure.
So, this is your annual big back to school thing. So let's talk about it.
Sure. So we've been doing this for 13 years with our title sponsor, Gibbons Company.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely could not do it without them. The actual idea actually came from the former CEO, Paula Clark. In the States, the Gap stores have these huge bins throughout the store.
Right.
And what they do at the Gap stores, anyone that buys clothes from them, they bring them back, the gently used items, and Gap distributes those clothes to homeless shelters for women and children. Why can't we do that for school uniforms? So I was like, okay. And this was actually during COVID. So we tried it to see if people would actually bring gently used uniforms and that people would actually receive them. Mm. And ever since then, we've been able to help over 10,000 students
That's amazing.
Over the 13-year partnership. And so, we're a very data-driven organization. So we have a huge data component. So we know how many students, what age, what schools, and how many people we've helped over the years. So the event is actually going to be taking place, the distribution of the clothing, on the 23rd of August.
Okay.
And so we are encouraging people to write these dates down because they're all very, very important. So
definitely,
you can apply if you have someone who needs uniform, or if you want to sponsor a child. Put a child's name forward
to nominate them. Right.
To nominate them. August 15th is the deadline. So you have to go on our website, gspcharity.com, and you can nominate any child that you feel may be in need of these clothes by the 15th of August. You can donate these uniforms to Gibbons Company by the 20th. So after the 20th, Gibbons won't be able to take any more gently used uniforms because we have to sort and get them all ready to be given out. And we've gotten us close to 800 to 1,000 pieces of clothing items. So you could imagine the machinery, the volunteers,
I could imagine. I can only imagine that it's time consuming to sort and process and
exactly
and organize everything, right?
Yep. So the 20th is the deadline to take an item to Gibbons, and you in return, by giving a gently used item, will get a discount off of items that you may have to purchase for your child.
Okay.
So you definitely get something in return by donating to another child.
That's what's up.
From Gibbons. And then finally, the 22nd is the date that we have been asked people to give the donations, the financial donations, so that we can have those monies kind of processed into gift cards for the uniforms.
Gotcha.
So your $150 now becomes a gift card that can only be used for school uniforms at Gibbons.
Okay.
So that's a process in and of itself.
Of course.
So we're talking over 500 people, you know what I mean?
Right,
so the processes, these dates are very important. And then on the 23rd is the date that if you've been successful with your nomination, you can come and collect your items. So those are the important dates. We wanted people to know that we are asking each person to donate $150. And this gift pack, the special gift pack that Gibbons has actually designed for us so that the child can be fully outfitted for school, for that $150, you get a school shirt, you get bottoms, pants, shirt, or skirt. You get socks. You get underwear, a multi-pack of vests, and a multi-pack of underwear for children. And one of the reasons, as well as a backpack. So they are actually outfitted in and out from head to toe.
Fully set up for success.
Exactly.
Which is important for a child especially, so that they're not worried about, how they're
going to look and how they're going to feel.
And, exactly how you look directly relates to how you feel and how you're going to be able to perform and concentrate and focus on your school.
Yeah. And so we are asking people to go on the website. Now, we do ask questions because, of course, we have donors and sponsors and people who give financial. So we ask you to go on the website, fill out the questions. Now, the questions are very specific to the work that we do. So you would ask questions like, in the last 90 days, have you had any losses in your family? A divorce, someone died from a terminal illness, a road fatality,
Right.
loss of job, loss of house. People get displaced when they have to move from one place to the other. And that information has been very, very good to us because it also shows us some of the losses that people have experienced. And you know that in 30 seconds, somebody's life could change. You know, somebody could have a terrible accident and all your funds or your life savings can go into, you know, caring for that cancer patient or flying them away or buying medicine. And so we've been very fortunate to be able to identify outside of the school uniform what some of those losses look like in some of our homes. People have lost jobs. People's hours have been cut. And every single time something like that happens, it shifts people's financial standing, you know.
Right, of course.
No one knows how quickly life can change. And so we use this data to drive our campaigns and to ensure that our theme of helping people to deal with grief and loss kind of stays intact. And so we are very thankful. We've been able to help people beyond uniforms because they're grieving a loved one. So we then say, listen, we now can help
Step
you
in and do a little bit more.
Exactly. But the school uniform may have brought them in the door.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's the focus. We've been very fortunate. This year we started the campaign a whole month in advance because last year we just saw people starting to register like the beginning of summer.
Right.
You know, and so we said, well, let's kind of put our ask out there early because one thing, people don't know what people can't help you unless they know what you need. So we started the campaign a whole month in advance, and I'm happy to say that we are going into this campaign with $20,000.
That's incredible.
Which is a first.
Yeah.
So to everyone that has given, all of the companies, all of the individuals, we want to say thank you. Now our goal is $80,000 to meet the needs of the 500 plus students. It's $80,000. Now I'm also happy to say that every year Bermuda we've surpassed $80,000 every single year. And I believe we will do the same this year. So again, we're calling on, you know, a lot of exam companies, international businesses, they have what you call matching funds. So if you work for them and you give $50, they will match that $50. So if you're listening to me right now and you work for an international business, you know, check it out, see if that's something that they would be willing to do.
Talk to your bosses.
Yeah, talk to your bosses and let them know that, you know, we really want to.
Tell them it's a great cause. And
you become our advocate, right? They also do quarterly donations toward causes. So you may be sitting on a committee saying, what should we help? What should we do this year? We would like you to consider our back to school drive. We know that the focus is education. We know that in Bermuda, it is absolutely mandatory to have school uniforms. So if you're not in uniform, you can't go. Yeah. So, you know, and we talk about education, but we talk about graduations and all of that, DJ. But what we must also recognize is that you sitting behind that mic, traveling all around the world and doing what you do as a professional person started in a classroom. Because you got to know how to read. Absolutely. You got to know how to write. You got to know how to tell time. You got to know how to do all those fundamental things to do the professional work that you do.
You got to have the right foundation.
Exactly.
And school is key in that. So quick question for you. So, I mean, I know that you've thrown out the number 500 as the number that you're kind of like, that's the starting point that you see. From you doing this a few years now, do you feel as if there's a need for much more than that? From what you see and what you experience, because I know you help a lot of people. Do you finish the year saying like, oh man, I wish we could have done more. I wish we could have gotten to more kids. I wish we could have done it a little bit bigger. Like, how do you measure your success in this?
One way to measure the success is to set a goal and surpass it. That's the first thing. The second thing is that we also have seen where people have been helped for the last 3 or 4 years, and they call us. They will call us or send us an email and say, Ms. Spence, I'm good this year. I actually don't need the help. That's
incredible.
You know what I mean? So there's so many ways to measure it. And then people will come and say, you know what? I've never volunteered for you, but I want to volunteer this year. So, you know, it's more than money. It's more than time. It's what is the buy-in. It's how people's lives change.
Right.
Of course, we always want to do more and we always want to do better. And that's why we do surveys all the time. For an example, the underclothes that we provide, that actually came from a teacher because we were doing, the top, the bottom, the socks, the knapsack. And a teacher, gym teacher said to me, she said, have you guys ever considered underclothing for children? And I was like, really? And he says, she said, like sometimes when the kids are, getting ready for gym, I can see that the underclothes is either stretched or the elastic is going. I got a pin in the side. Or wintertime, dead winter, these kids don't even have an undervest.
Wow.
So she said, if you guys could add that to your packaging, that would be great. So when I say the community are our hands and feet, because we wouldn't see that. We wouldn't know that,
not.
right?
Yeah.
And people bring us all sorts of great ideas that we implement. So to that gym teacher who cares enough about her students to ask us if we can add these items to our package, I say thank you. Our teachers do a tremendous job. I mean, listen, they're on the front line. They get to see our children every day in ways that we don't. They do a thankless job, but I know that education is just imperative. You cannot do much without a solid education, whether it's through hands-on training or the high academic level. And that is why we are so focused on making sure that a child is not sitting home missing time from school because they don't have a shorts or they don't have a knapsack or whatever the need is.
Correct.
We've seen children, we have tons of letters, tons of emails from families just saying, Ms. Spence, thank you guys so much. Now I can actually take this money and buy my child's asthma pump because now the uniform is taken care of. I can take care of their medical needs. And then, of course, we do from preschool to high school. So we take in every school level in terms of providing uniforms.
I was going to ask if you had a cutoff age or a cutoff point to where you support.
From preschool to high school, public and private. And I want to note that because a lot of families, they win scholarships or they're awarded scholarships for their children to go to private school, but they still don't have the wherewithal for everything else because just getting them into private school to a scholarship is huge. So if we can take care of the uniform and, the school or someone has supplied this educational scholarship, again, the family can take those funds and pay the electric light bill, pay for food. When we think about the cost, we did another analysis. We went around town and we went shopping, price shopping. And we found out that to get a child a shirt, short, pair of socks, or a skirt, whatever the bottom is, and a knapsack for the 5 days of the week, was close to $1,000. And that's just one item for each day. Technically, you want your child to have more than one shirt, right?
Of course.
But a lot of parents can't afford it. So that's why we know that this need is great. That's why we've seen how important it is to make sure that we're also collecting data and being as current as far as the need is concerned as possible. So we're excited. We're calling on Bermuda to give $150. 3 people could give $50. 6 people could, you could do the math.
Right.
We're calling on our golfers, those persons in the sports arena, our football teams, our family chats. I have a couple of chats that have at least 20 people in it. Right. And if everybody in the chat gave $25, that's one child's entire outfit, for the school to start the school year. So we're calling on even CEOs, like there are a lot of men and women sitting in seats of huge influence, right? They're the leaders. Well, we want you to start putting school uniforms on the future leaders. Who else is going to take your seat someday? This is a way that you could say it to them now as a CEO. So we're asking our churches, there are 150 churches in this island. If one church took one child and said, we're going to outfit them with the $150, that'll be 150 children off our list right away.
Just from the church community.
Exactly. Right? And I'm not talking about the pastor. I'm talking about a church that has over 100 people in it.
Of course. Yeah.
But we're putting these things out there because we want people to understand how easy it can be to help a child to get ready for school. We've had companies that say, we'll do 4 children. We've had a taxi driver call us up and say, this whole week, all my funds are going to this campaign. I'm retired, I've got my own house, so it really depends on how you feel and what you can do. Now, we've had people who could give us $20, but if they give me 20 and I have 130, I'm still getting to my 150 because that $20 just got that child completely ready. So we are encouraging people to think outside the box, go to our website, gspcharity.com, or call our office. We still have a phone, 296-0016. We do not want to have to turn any child away. That is not our goal. Our goal is to be able to help every single child that comes, and
That's
registers.
nominated and put forward.
That's the goal. Now, when you come to the event, it's like a shopping mall, right? Our fabulous supporters, the Cedar Bridge Academy, they give us the big cafeterium, and we set it up like a store. Just like you would go into Gibbons, it's set up the same way so that people feel like they're not just coming into something that's just thrown together. We make it really nice. We have live entertainment. We have the DJ. We have food. It's very festive.
Nice.
Because it takes a lot to say, I need help, let alone to show up with your kids to get the help. So we want people to feel valued, seen, appreciated, and we want them to know that we care enough about you to make sure that if you have a child and that child needs to be dressed for educational success, we're your charity. We're the ones that will help you to do that. There is an accountability to parents, because we have security systems in place, and that's why we ask all the questions, because, we don't want people, registering 3 or 4 children over and over. You can't even do that. The system doesn't allow you to.
Right.
However, if
not
you,
taking advantage of.
Right. But if you have 5 children, then by all means, because we know that there are families, like I said, right now, who are both working, both parents are working. There are a lot of people who go to work every day, but the cost of living just doesn't allow them, with the extra and additional money to get children ready for school.
Yeah.
Speaking
of that cost of living, because you said you started doing this around the pandemic time, right?
Yeah. Well, we've been doing it for 20 years as a charity, but with Gibbons, we started 13 years ago.
Right. So I was going to ask then, have you seen a significant increase in the cost of putting together the package, or has that stayed more or less the same?
Well, to tell you the truth, because Gibbons puts the package together for us. So for an example, a pair of sneakers could be $75 to $80, right?
Right.
A pair of, skirts or gray pants for a young man could be $60 to $70. That's $140 just for a pair of pants. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And a shirt by itself. For $150, you're getting every single item that you need. That's why I said we could never do it without Gibbons, because they're the ones that have created this package.
Big shout out to the sponsors.
Yeah, because if you just go into a regular clothing store to buy these items, 2 items is going to maybe get you to $100 without getting anything else.
Right.
But we have, and that is why Gibbons has been gracious enough to do this with us, because they understand the power and the value of education, right? Mm-hmm. And we have been in this partnership for 13 years, and they have been able to help us because they buy clothes. They know what the cost of clothing is. So we're excited. We look forward to the 23rd, and people will show up and come to collect their items. But we're just calling on Bermuda to give what you can. We have a senior citizen every single year. I kid you not. DJ Rusty. Every single year, this senior citizen puts aside $150. And she gladly says, this is my contribution.
I love that.
Why? Because she said she remembers raising her kids, struggling. So people don't forget where they come from. And many times people want to know how they can help. So one way is to give financially. Another way is to give gently used items. And so what happens is you go online, you register the child, and we match, like, let's say you gave us 5 pairs of khaki shorts in a size medium.
Right.
And a parent went online and said, I need 3 pairs size medium. So your gently used shorts are now going to that family that has asked for that item. So we match it that way. And then let's say we don't have the blazer in your son's size. We give you the gift card to get the
blazer, right?
Right. So either way, it works out whether that child has what they need.
Right.
So we're very, it's a whole machinery. I have to give a shout out to Mikey,
of course,
our board of directors, all of our, it takes an army. Just the sorting alone takes a lot of people. A lot of the exam companies come and put their hands on the product.
How many people do you have on your team to sort that?
Well, we have a whole week of people coming in from 6 to 8 for 7 days. So if you can imagine what that looks like, it's just hundreds of people that come in. They give us an hour. You may not have money to give, but you may have an hour that you can give.
You can donate some time to help
out.
Yeah.
Sure. So you can go on our website and volunteer, gspcharity.com. You can go on to register a child, and you can go on to make a donation. We want to give a huge shout out to Melvin Dickinson, Mediaville. Our website is family friendly. You know, it's very easy to use, but it's got a lot of strong protections in place. So to Melvin and his team, thank you, thank you, thank you. Eye of the Eagle does all of our PR. You'll see the videos and all of that type of stuff. Leanna Barnett does a lot of the Facebook and the all of the stuff on the internet, that sort of thing. And it's just we have a whole financial team that has to cross the T's and dot the I's. And
I love that you have the support that you need to do these types of initiatives.
Yeah, it takes a lot of people. And believe it or not, running a charity is like running a business in Bermuda.
Absolutely.
You know, we have to get a license every year, relicense every year. You have to show where the money's coming from, the PIPA law. There's so many things that are required of charities that people don't even understand. But we have people who serve at the board level who are credentialed lawyers, credentialed doctors, credentialed, legal people. And that takes up a lot of the heavy lifting, because anything legal, we just go to our lawyer on our board. Anything to do with the medical side. Dr. Bendy Woods is our chairperson, but she's also a medical doctor.
Right.
Dr. Irie Bean. And so, we have a number of people who are who work professionally in these arenas. But as a board member, they donate their time and their gifts and their talents. And that's what helps us to stay around for more than 3 decades. That's what it looks like.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, I just want to say, as always, I personally appreciate what it is that you do in the community, what you do for the kids, what you do for the people of Bermuda. You're one of the most passionate people that I've met, you know what I mean, through the conversations that we've had. And just want to encourage you to continue doing what you're doing. Thank you for stopping by. We're going to do our part to get the word out and let people know about all the great things that you're doing with helping in the community and how people can get involved. And once again, it's the GSP charity. .com that you need to go to for all the information to sign up. If you want to nominate a child, if you want to volunteer, if you want to donate, all the information is on the website, right?
Yeah. I tell people the website is like our house. Just come to our home and everything you need is right there.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there anything that we forgot or that we've missed?
I think
for this program
the
coming
main
up.
Thing, the target is 80,000. We've hit the 20,000 mark. Thank you to everyone that has given thus far. We're calling on our community, every aspect of our community, to give what you can or to volunteer your time. We do want to encourage people to, obviously we can only give what we receive. So this campaign is really based on funds that come in.
Right.
Yeah. So we really need that support. We will be back, to give an update on where the funds are and where the campaign is the week leading into the 23rd. So we'll be back to let you know where we are. But I have no doubt, like I said, the last time I spoke to you, we didn't have any money raised specifically for this campaign.
Correct.
A month later,
do remember,
we're at the $20,000 mark. So if that says anything about the people of this community and this beautiful island called Bermuda, we are givers. We love our children, and we are very passionate about education. And if that's what you believe in, this is the campaign to support.
I love it.
Yeah.
But thanks again for stopping by. And this is another edition of the Irie 98 podcast. If you want conversations like this and much more in the community, just make sure you check out Irie 98 on YouTube, the podcast channel. And
thank you so much. Appreciate you.